Hey everyone, and welcome to the DGT Wellness channel. Today we are speaking about soul retrieval. We are talking about how you might benefit from soul retrieval, what is soul retrieval, and maybe why you want to add that into your spiritual healing practice. So, my name is Derrick Ivey. I help human-centered healers add deeper tools into their practice to make a deeper impact. So I'm really glad that you're here with us, and let's get right into this. So, in order to explain what soul retrieval is, I think first we should look at what is our essential essence. That is going to lead us to where we want to go with this to really help you understand what soul retrieval is. So I'm holding this specimen here of a piece of smoky quartz, but I think this is a perfect analogy to use to explain soul retrieval. So you see on this piece of smoky quartz, there's all of these different beautiful aspects about it. And this piece has a very essential essence to it. If you grabbed another piece of this quartz that was about the same size, it's going to be completely different. These are going to be in completely different places. It might have a lot of the same features to it, but they're going to have a different essence, right? So think about when a small baby is born. And you might think about a few different babies. One of them might have a really kind of impatient temperament. Maybe another one cries all the time. And maybe another baby is really calm, right? So all of us are born with a specific essence. And that's what this is. This represents you. So let's say that when you were born, you had all of these special things about you, all of these specific energies that is your full soul self-expression. But what ends up happening is life. Life happens, these little traumas happen, and as these traumas happen, pieces of your essential essence get fractured off. And then you are not fully in your full highest self expression because it somewhere along the line it became not actually safe to express yourself. So, how does that happen? Now, it might be a really big trauma, or it might be something that was seemingly small but had a big impact on your self-expression. So for myself, when I was growing up, I remember one time I had bought a new pair of shoes and I wore them to school. Someone made fun of them. And from that day forward, I was always self-conscious about what type of shoes I would wear to school. So that's what happens, right? And it happens on large scales, on bigger scales, but life is traumatizing. If you are alive in one of these human bodies in this time space reality, there's going to be things that traumatize you at some point. And what soul retrieval, the idea of this is to retrieve back all of those aspects of who we truly are. Because a lot of time, especially in today's society and Western ways of thinking, we're walking around as not really being our authentic selves. We think we have to be a certain way to be accepted, to fit in, we think it's not safe to fully express ourselves. And on a large scale, that might look like someone completely hiding who they really are. On a smaller scale, it might be those little things like, I'm afraid to talk about this in front of this person because I don't know what they're going to think of me or what have you. So, soul retrieval is a process where we take you into a really, really deep state of relaxation, into what's called a somnambulistic trance state. And this is a state that we all pass through at least twice a day, but actually much more than that. Like, let's think about when you first wake up in the morning before your eyes even open, you're in that somnambulistic state. And the split second right before you drift off to sleep at night, that's also a somnambulistic state. So it's not scary. You're not out of control of your body or anything like that. If there was to be a threat come into the room, you would snap right out of that. So it's not anything to be afraid of, but in that somnambulistic state, your subconscious mind is opened up. And a lot of times, our subconscious runs what we do. The subconscious is actually responsible for about 94 to 98% of every single thing that we do within a day. That's subconsciously governed. So we walk around thinking we have all of this control over our life, over the things that happen to us, but really our subconscious has that control. So the benefit of getting into the state is that our subconscious mind has recorded absolutely everything that our soul has ever experienced. That includes everything that our soul has experienced in this life and maybe also even into past lives. But in that state, once the subconscious mind is really opened up to a level of somnambulism, then at that point, we have access to all of those stored and repressed memories that you might not even consciously think about. And all of these memories that you don't even consciously think about, that you don't even really necessarily know are influencing you, very much so are influencing you. And they're either to the extent that you're in touch with your subconscious motivations, is to the extent of your success, because you can't get past a certain place if you're holding a subconscious belief that you can't get past that certain place. That's why people stay small. That's why people don't expand into their full potential, because subconsciously, and probably because of one of these things that could be healed in soul retrieval, is influencing their every move in life. So in soul retrieval, what we're doing is we're taking you into the state, and then we're going back in time. We're winding back the wheels of time, and we're floating back through rivers of time and space, and we're going to those places where these essential aspects were broken off of. And we're taking those pieces back and we're integrating them back into our being. Then we're integrating all of that and updating the subconscious up to present day with that new knowledge. So this is a process. It's not something that is going to be necessarily easy or a walk in the park, but it's also not something that has to be necessarily hard. But you do have to have some level of readiness to, and some level of courage to really look at this stuff at the deepest levels and heal what needs to be healed. So you might be wondering, well, how do we do that? How do we go back in time and space and find exactly the things if we don't consciously know what they are? And I'm going to tell you something that is always going to be the best way to find that, in my opinion. And that is whatever is coming up in your life right now. So we didn't come into these bodies to have an easy experience. Sorry. We came into these bodies to come up against resistance. We came into these bodies to expand past our limits and what we think is possible. We came into these bodies to experience the good and the bad and the ugly, the light and the dark. This reality down here in Earth is a very fine balance of the light and the dark. So, our guidance system that's within every single one of us, that's what's pointing us to our highest outcomes. So, the way I would approach this is think about all of the things that are in your life right now that don't feel so good. We don't so much have good growth when we're just coasting along, we're comfortable, we're just doing the same things, getting the same results. We really have that growth and expansion when we have the challenges, when we have the more difficult energies, and we need to find a way to integrate that and continue being happy. I think a lot of the path to spiritual awakening and enlightenment, or whatever you want to call it, much of that path is simply learning how to be with all of it. And there's this old saying in Buddhist cosmology where it's like, this too. It's like we so often think that something that goes on in life is not supposed to be happening, or it's some type of diversion from the path, but it's actually the path itself, because that discomfort in you is your higher self and your human self feeling completely different ways about something. So if you have heavy resistance about anything, that's the place to start. So let's take anxiety, for example. That's a really common problem that I help a lot of people with in my practice, is just basic everyday anxiety. And the topic matter that attaches to that anxiety is different for everyone. But for a lot of people, let's say that you're getting this anxiety in your chest and you feel this tightness, you feel this restriction in your chest. That's where we start. So we'll take you into that deep trance state. And then within that energetic pattern that feels like and is manifesting as tightness in your chest, that's the energy pattern that holds those subconscious memories. So we have a lot of different techniques that we work with to unlock those energy patterns and take us back through time and space to where they first originated. And then we go back and revisit those times and we claim back those aspects. We express those emotions that never had a chance to be expressed. So, like there's when you're a little kid, you see look to your parents for absolutely everything, all of your needs. They are the authority. So a lot of times it's our parents that fragment off a lot of these aspects of us by telling us, hey, you can't do that. That's not okay. Something you just intuitively did as a little kid automatically becomes not okay from the most important people in your life. Yeah, that's going to shut down those emotions. And all of these emotions have polarities to them. So it's like if you shut down being able to express the good thing or the bad things, quote, quote, because there actually is not such a thing as good or bad or right or wrong. It is all part of our experience. But if we think one part of our experience is wrong, we're going to shut down. And then the polarity of that, which might be a more positive aspect of us, won't be able to get out because it's trapped in that trapped emotion. So, this process is all about finding our true soul essence and really removing any barrier that keeps us from being at our highest intention. And soul retrieval is a process that really it happens in layers. So it's not like you're going to have one soul retrieval session and everything that you've ever repressed is going to get fixed. It's more like, let's look at this energy that may be really dominant in my life right now. Let's take it back. Let's unlock that information. And then let's beautifully integrate these pieces back in. And that's what soul retrieval is about. And it's also a re education process. We have to re educate ourselves on what's actually true. So many times we walk around our entire life just fully believing, fully convicted that something is true because someone in our life early on told us that's the way it was. And we never really pushed those boundaries to see the truth for ourselves. So it's a very, very empowering process to go into a soul retrieval journey, do that reintegration, do that re education, and then beautifully fitting it and bringing it back up to present day with that updated information. And that's going to look different for absolutely every person. There's not going to be two same soul retrievals. And that's one of the things that I teach practitioners how to do in my QSM program is how to guide people on these journeys. How do you know where to take them? How do you know what is right for that person? Because people are so individual. We didn't come here on this planet or into these bodies to fit into some type of cookie cutter mold, right? Like we came here to be ourselves in all of the glory that comes with that. And you are such a beautiful and perfect divine being just for being here, just for being alive. So if it feels like there's some areas in your life that you're like, I am really being held back here, I'm not really feeling that freedom, I'm feeling restricted, that's a good sign that there's something for you in doing one of these soul retrieval sessions. And soul retrieval is a much deeper technique. So a lot of surface level, and yeah, I do consider Reiki to be a lot of times a surface level healing because there's only so much that Reiki can actually go in and fix on a deep level. Um, and not to say that Reiki cannot be deeply healing. I think it really depends on the practitioner because your practitioner of any type of healing is only going to be able to take you as far as they themselves have gone in their own journey, in their own education. So I think a lot of times people get trained in Reiki and they might take a weekend course, get certified in level one, level two Reiki, or what have you. And then they go in to do this healing and they can sense where those energy patterns are at through the Reiki. But a lot of times, what happens is the Reiki will push that energy out, it'll smooth everything over. You'll feel this deep sense of satisfaction, but the root of that energetic pattern was not actually pulled out. It wasn't actually healed. There wasn't a reintegration. There wasn't a re-education. So, of course, that energy pattern is going to reform in the same spot in due time. So, if you are really wanting to help your clients heal on a insanely deep level, I would really recommend taking your education further and getting into this somatic type of healing. And soul retrieval is a very somatic release. There is going to be a release that comes through that energy moves out of your system. And the other piece of this is we're not just taking energy away, we're also putting that energy in of those new programs that you do want to experience. We're aligning you with the timelines that you do belong on, that are of your highest good. So, anyone is going to be able to benefit from having a soul retrieval session as long as they have an open mind, as long as they are fully willing to look at some of these causes and conditions of why they're in the situation they're in. And they're really open to not having all the answers. They're open to learning new things about themselves. The benefits of a soul retrieval session is your energy is going to flow a lot better. There's going to be a lot of patterns removed that opens space up for wellness to flow throughout the body. You're going to notice improved energy levels. You're going to notice being a lot more sure of yourself. You're going to notice emotional charge completely removed from things that really used to dominate you. That's one of the big signs that the soul retrieval really was effective is when you walk out of that session and the circumstances of the world are the same, but that feeling inside is completely different. You see things in a whole new way. And the other piece to this is you get to finish your story on the highest timeline possible for you. And that's a beautiful, beautiful gift. So I'm going to share a quick process with you, and this is just how you can do a mini process just to try this out yourself. And maybe you want to try this with your clients. But first, I'm going to have you bring that energy up that really bothers you, that really feels like it's in the way. I want you to actually elicit that energy and bring it up. So think of what really upsets you and Bring that energy up, get intimate with it, get to know it. Where is it in your body? What is this energy doing? What does it feel like? Does it have a color? Does it have edges to it? Once you have that energy in your body, then you can just take yourself fully into that energy and wind yourself back through time and space and ask yourself, when have I felt this energy before? And maybe a few scenes will come to mind. And of course, there's deeper ways to do this in hypnosis, but this is a good basic way to get started. Go to those scenes and become the observer. Just watch. Watch yourself at age 2 going through this. Watch yourself forming these beliefs about yourself and about life for the first time. Then what you want to do is you want to empower that younger version of you. What do they need? What do they really need to know about themselves so they don't have to live life afraid? And then you're going to bring that back into your present, and that's going to change the way you see things. One shift shifts everything because it shifts how we view reality. And I want you to just think before we close here, what do you really want? What do you really want to experience from life? Is there something holding you back from that? Is there something trying to keep you small that's kind of pulling your shirt back, like, don't go that far? It's safer here. Because the secret of you getting what you ultimately want in life is going to be overcoming the resistance of what's holding you back from that expression now. There is nothing that you cannot be, do, or have. Always remember that. You are a divine creator being. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that was helpful. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. That really helps us get out to more souls who would like to learn things like this. Don't forget to like the video or comment if you feel drawn also. And I just hope you have such an amazing day. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of this today. And go give it your all. Open up. Be bold. Have a great day. We'll talk soon.